Welcome to our video series on mastering website conversions. In this video, we'll explain how split testing can show you how to improve your site's impact. In this set of videos, I'm going to be talking to you next about how to optimize the results from your website. And I'm primarily going to be talking you through one tactic. And you may already be familiar with this, and it's split testing. Split testing is a very simple concept, but it's often used incorrectly. It often isn't actually used at all, and just by applying it to your website on an ongoing or even part-time basis, it can make a huge difference. Okay, so first of all, let me just talk you through some options. Go to Google and search for example, split test software. And there are any number of options ranging from free to quite a bit more expensive than that. And you can also search for split test service, and there are lots of options there as well. And the benefit of a service, not the benefit of a service, but the benefit of using professional software or a service when split testing is that they often have more advanced features. I'll touch on those in a moment. And those advanced features can make your results, your split test results, your statistical results, a lot more useful. However, in this set of videos, I'm not going to ask you to go out and buy or sign up for any particular software or service. I'll actually be talking you through how to add it for free to your website in a very straightforward way. And I'll introduce you to the code in just a moment. I actually have it here in a page called split.html, as you can see. And even if you're not that comfortable working with HTML, with web code, as you'll see, it's very easy to put together and add to your website and to implement. Okay, now let me talk you through the advanced feature that's very useful and that I won't be giving you the code for within the free code because it's somewhat more advanced than that and would require quite a lot of code. However, if you want, rather than purchasing software or a service, you can of course go to a site such as scriptlance.com or elance.com. And there's also a number of similar sites. There's also guru.com. And for a very small fee, perhaps $100 or maybe even less, you can get someone to write professional split testing code for you that you can use however you like. And you can even sell it if you wish then. Okay, let me talk to you about the advanced feature in just a moment, which you should really keep in mind with all this. But just before I get to that, if you aren't familiar with split testing, it's a very basic but very powerful concept. And the concept is, it makes the assumption that you don't know what advertising is going to work best. What headline in your Google advertisement, for example, or what headline, or what type of design on your web page. It basically comes from the assumption that you don't know what's going to work best. So you find out what works best by creating 2 pages, or 2 advertisements. And they're similar. Generally, they're not completely different. You can test completely different pages if you wish, but often split testing is done by just changing one element. For example, here at guru.com, they could split test the front page. They could have this page twice, and the only difference, for example, would be the photo. Or the only difference between the two is the headline. And then they run one version of the page against the other, evenly. So it's a 50-50 split. If a visitor comes, they have a 50% chance of seeing either page. And with enough visitors and enough feedback, this gives you good statistical information that tells you what actually works best. And obviously, you want the page that works best on your website. So you keep the winner, and that becomes known as the control, the advertisement that does the best. And then, if you wish, you can keep competing against this control. And when a new ad does better, that becomes your new control. But you have to let your ads run a decent amount of time. Letting your ads run over 50 visitors isn't going to be statistically relevant. But over 500 visitors or more, that becomes statistically relevant. So you have to keep that in mind. If the numbers are too small, the feedback doesn't really mean anything yet. So that's split testing at the basic level. And as I mentioned, you can use that with Google Ads, with any type of advertising, with web pages, or sales pages, or order pages, or opt-in pages. Now, here's the important part, which, as I mentioned, I can't give you with the free code, but you generally get it with advanced software and services, and you can also ask a programmer to create this functionality for you if you wish. And that is, after a visitor comes to the site, let's say, for example, let's take the example of guru.com, and one visitor is sent to a.html, for example, or actually, let's say, index A, for example, and there's a 50% chance of the next visitor being sent to index B. So two similar pages, but different visitors see different pages. However, people often come back to a site more than once, of course, and if they come back to see a different page, the testing starts becoming irrelevant. They have to keep seeing the same page. And that's an important factor, I believe. So you do that by setting a cookie, and that's done through the software or the script. They come to the page, and the software or service sets a cookie, which is effectively a small marker on their computer, a small file that gets stored in their web browser and just saves information about. Cookies work, for example, with online email services. Cookies often remember your username, or they remember your password. So cookies are used to store information when you've left the website or when you return to it. So if your website or service uses cookies, then that cookie will help send, even if they come back to the front page, the visitor will still be sent to the index A or index B that they visited, that they were sent to in the first place. So that way, they always see the same page. And that's very important for getting useful statistics, for keeping consistency across the test. So that's an introduction to split testing and some of the options available and why I feel it's important to cookie your visitors so they always see the same page. However, in the videos that follow this, I'll be talking you through free split testing options, which aren't quite as powerful as I would like, but it works for free, and you can get it up and running literally within a minute or two, so it works very well. And I'll talk you through other ways you can implement split testing on your site for opt-ins, order pages, sales pages, and so on, and the important points to keep in mind when split testing.